So if we're going to try to graph x minus 3 squared equals 8 plus or 8 times y plus 1, we need to have an idea of how parabolas translate. We again notice that we have two different types of forms depending on if it's a horizontal parabola or a vertical parabola. And these two different definitions we have, but notice we also have our traditional h and k to help us understand which way the translation occurs. And so that helps us recenter our vertex away from 0 and 0. So can we identify on this one? Well, it looks like we have a vertical parabola. It's an x minus something squared. So it fits that particular form. We're able to find h and k. Well, k not quite yet. So let's rewrite it as x minus 3 squared equals 8 times y minus a minus 1. And doing that now we can list h as a 3, k as a negative 1, and p is the other one we're looking for. So remember that 4p, that combined term right there represents the term outside the parentheses. So 4p equals 8, which means p equals 2. All right, I think we have enough information to go ahead and start to graph our translation of a parabola. We know that our new center is, our new vertex is at the point over 3. Again, no tick marks. I just like drawing grids without tick marks. One day I'll invent an automatic graph maker. Wouldn't that be nice? So over 3, up 1. Oh, over 3, down 1. 1, 2, 3, down 1. All right, so there's my vertex. Now to look at where I have some particular points. So my focus is at 2 units. Since I know it's a vertical parabola, I have my parabola focus is 2 units down or 2 units up. So let's draw the right color here. Which means my directrix is 2 units down. What other information we can find? So we have new center. We have the parabola point. We can go ahead and start to graph a parabola such as that. Later we can find out where it crosses the x and y axis is at. But this gives us a general idea of where that graph lays on this particular grid that we're able to develop. And then for bonus, we know that we have this other point here, the latus rectum, that connects from here all the way there. And those points we can define. If that's 2 units up, we know that this is 4 units over, and that's 4 units over. 1, 2, 3, 4. I nailed that one perfect. That one is 1, 2, 3, 4. My graph is a little wobbly. It should be over there a little bit. Okay, let's go ahead and see how we can identify some of these points. My vertex was at 3, negative 1. All right, we know that. My focus was up 2 units from that, so that's 3 and 1. The end point of my latus rectum is 4 points over, so this would be the point 7 and 1 because it shifted 4 points over, and the other one's 4 points back, so it'd be negative 1 and 1. Look at all the things we can identify if we were asked to. And the directrix on this particular case is down there at the line x equals h minus p, which is what we have, y equals k minus p. So that's the line y equals k, which is 3 minus p, which is 2. 3 minus a minus 2, or 3 minus 2 is down at negative 3. 3 minus 2. Sorry, this is at negative 1, not a 3. Negative 1 is down, and subtract 2 from that gives me y equals negative 3. All right, there's all the information. Well, there's probably more information we can find, but that's enough information for now of how to graph or a translation of a graph. So this one's not centered on the origin. We had to shift it, and all the things from there we were able to discover based off of that shift. Sometimes again, when we see an equation, we need to do some trickery with it to figure out how to get it into a form that we're useful to, or a form that's useful. This one is a graph of a parabola, but it's not in the standard form that we're learning. So we're going to have to use our completing the square wrinkle to help do that. So in order to do that, let's add all the x's to the other side in this case. What do we add to the left side to complete the square? We add a 1, and then so, whoops, sorry, that's a 23 there. I already jumped ahead, didn't I? In order to do that, now we're able to go ahead, and that allowed us to complete and create a perfect square, which is a y plus a 1 squared. On the right side, we have minus 12x plus a 24. What do we do with that? That's not quite in the form that we're looking for. So a little bit of algebra can fix that. Let's factor out a negative 12. And what's left is an x minus a 2. All right, there we have the form that we're used to. From here, let's identify some of our key points. Let's identify our x, h's, and k's. First, I probably should rewrite that as y minus a minus 1. So that k is very clear. All right, do I give you enough information that you guys can take it home from there? All right, go for it. H equals 2. Right there, listed as right there. K, attach my y term, which is a negative 1. Good for you. P, I know that this term right there, negative 12 equals a 4p. Therefore, p equals a negative 3. And so now I know kind of where my focus is at. From there, let's go ahead and start to graph our line. A line, it's a parabola. Well, at least not a line. Put our tick marks in first this time. What do we know? We know we have a center, or the vertex of this parabola is at the point over 2 and up, down 1. We know that my parabola is a horizontal facing parabola, but I'm not sure which direction it goes yet. But our focus tells me, helps out, tells me that it's at a negative 3 from that. So backwards, negative 3. 1, 2, and 3. So there's the focus of my parabola, which means my directrix is 3 units on the other side. So now I know my graph opens up facing towards negative, or faces towards the left. And let's find where my lattice rectum is at as well. That's 1, 2, 3 units. So I know then 3 units up, 6 units up. P, that's twice a P. 1, 2, 3. So up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then up. If this is P is 3, this is 12. So it's up 6 units. Okay, that's what it was, 6 units. Right there. And down 6 units. Right there. All those points are on this bowl. And then for bonus points, if I want to connect the point that's straight vertical from the focus, that's the lattice rectum. Let's identify these points because we can. We know the vertex is over at 2 and negative 1. Good job with that. The focus is 3.3 units to the left, which is negative 1 and negative 1. I have the line over here of x equals 5. And then our 2 points on the latus rectum segment. Right there, that's up 6 units from there, which is 5 units up from the origin, so it's backwards -1 and 5. And this was -1 and down 6 from there, so -7. All right, ta-da! Feels good. And these feel just fairly straightforward with practice, so you feel like you're able to accomplish something from something that looks very complicated.